Yo, what is up, everyone? It's your favorite reaction YouTuber here, about to react to this new video announcing March of the Lich King and the new Death Knight class. So, let's go. What is this animation? Why does she look so goofy? It's crazy watching an epic battle like this and knowing that if a big game hunter showed up, he would just kill that guy. Oh, maybe not if he's a hero card, though. Wait, did they show what the hero power did, or did it just make a 1-1? Okay, that little gameplay short didn't tell me anything.
Hello and welcome to the tavern. That's right, the Lich King is on the march and will soon arrive. In our next expansion, the Lich King and his undead army, the Scourge, have laid siege to Silvermoon City, capital of the noble Blood Elves. And Death Knights are coming to Hearthstone. March of the Lich King is Hearthstone's biggest expansion ever. We have a new keyword, a new way to build decks, a new minion type, and lots of cards. Let's get into it.
This time the Lich King's back, joining their roster of heroes, adding Death Knight as the 11th class in Hearthstone.
Death Knights are
Alright,
the
11th class confirmed. I'm a little bit concerned about there being a new class, to be honest. Because I feel like the game already has, like, too many classes, and they kind of struggle to keep all the classes relevant. And Demon Hunter, like, ruined the game for a pretty long time. And in my opinion, it hasn't really been... It's been more of a net negative on the game. It wasn't really until, like, Relic Demon Hunter that I really enjoyed a Demon Hunter deck. So I'm a bit concerned about class number 11, I will say.
To get to know the new class, you will follow the journey of Prince Arthas Menethil in an action-packed solo adventure as he goes down the dark path that leads him to becoming a Death Knight, and ultimately the Lich King.
After you complete the prologue and become the Lich King, you'll unlock the Death Knight class. It gives you access to their
I have to do single-player content to play the new class. Cringe.
We really wanted to make sure that players had the opportunity to try a bunch of different Death Knight strategies on launch. So we also created the Path of Arthas, which is a set of 26 additional Death Knight cards to help you power up your collection. And the Path of Arthas...
Wait, there were 32 base set and then 26 more?
Battle ready on day one.
Oh, and there's still also an expansion set, so that's another 10 Death Knight cards
Wow.
there too. In total, Death Knight launches with a whopping 68 cards.
How many did Demon Hunter launch with?
Set with 50% more cards than we launched with
Oh,
Demon Hunter.
okay.
Death Knights have the most
So they launched with like 40?
Let's start with the Death Knight hero power.
Alright.
Ghoul Charge. Summon a 1/1 ghoul with charge. It dies at end of turn. Death Knights
Okay, that's kind of interesting.
to fight for them.
For Death Knights,
So Death Knight, for sure, is not going to have buff cards if you can get a charge minion every turn.
Corpses. Whenever a friendly minion dies, you add another corpse to the pile. You can see
Oh,
the
they have a
corpse count
unique
underneath the mana
resource.
bar.
Many Death Knight cards spend those corpses to unlock
Okay.
additional effects. So,
This is Shadowverse. This is Blood... What are they called? Blood Forge? Blood... Or no, this is Shadow. Yeah. The little girl with the dead parents.
here's Army of the Dead. Raise up to 5 corpses as 2/2 ghouls with rush.
So you just spend all of your little corpse points, all your little mana that you've had stocked up. You spend up to 5 of those, I guess. Wasn't Army of the Dead already one of the Death Knight cards? They couldn't get a new name? Maybe that's like an iconic thing from Warcraft, I don't know.
Corpse Explosion is my favorite spell in World of Warcraft, so I'm really excited to bring it to Hearthstone to be the coolest board clear that we've ever made. As long as there's minions
Wait,
on
they read the
board,
last one out, so I was waiting for them to read this one out. Okay. 5 mana, detonate a corpse to deal 1 damage to all minions. If any are still alive, repeat this. Wow. This seems really strong if it's easy to get corpses. Not only does it just kill everything, it stops consuming your resources as soon as it's good enough. And presumably it like goes through death rattles, right? This is just an insane defile, but I guess it does cost, you know, 150% more.
If you have excess corpses but are short on cards, you can use Defrost for some card draw. So there are numerous cards that
Spend 2 corpses to draw
all sorts of
another.
things.
Presumably you
Notice
can only do
there's
that
some
once.
cards that have little symbols underneath the mana cost. That brings us to the new big topic, runes. We mentioned earlier that Death Knights have the most varied gameplay of any class. We're not just saying that. Runes are a way of specializing your Death Knight deck towards a wide range of playstyles.
Blood, Frost, and Unholy runes. These are critical to building a Death Knight deck. During deck construction, there are 3 rune slots. You can fill them with any combination of Blood, Frost, or Unholy runes to choose how much you want to devote yourself to that playstyle.
Your deck's runes control what Death Knight cards you can add to your deck. We wanted to build a new axis for players who liked deck building.
So the Blood Boil needs you to have 2 blood runes. And then the Glacial Advance says you can have a Frost. So with this combination, if there was something that needed 3 blood runes, you couldn't play it. And if it needed any Unholy runes, you couldn't play that either. This seems needlessly complicated. I already said earlier, I feel like Hearthstone has too many classes, and now they're making like 3 classes in one. I don't know. I'm very skeptical that we will consistently have... I'm skeptical that there will actually be variants with this, and not just a best rune combination.
Death Knights can do many incredibly powerful things, but you can't
I wonder if it shows the
cherry-pick your
opponent
best
what
cards.
runes you have,
The
or if
rune
you have to just
system
figure
lets
it
you
out.
specialize your deck, but in a very flexible way, full of interesting trade-offs. So let's talk about how each specialization of Death Knight plays and what makes them unique.
Well, first, Blood Death Knights. Blood Death Knights are big meat bags and incredibly resilient. They drain life force from their opponents and defend with walls of flesh and bone. They have these powerful removal cards, lifesteal, health manipulation, and huge minions, and they control the game. If you want to dip your toe into blood with
Obliterate.
a single blood rune,
Obliterate is destroy a minion, your hero takes damage equal to its health. Is that just Obliterate? That used to be the card, right? Gnome Muncher, 6 mana, 5/6, Undead. I don't know if they explicitly said up to this point, but Undead appears to be the new type. Taunt Lifesteal. At the end of your turn, attack the lowest health enemy. So that can go face, kind of interesting. It's got Taunt, but it uses its own health to attack. That's probably a pretty decent card. I feel like aggro is just going to concede to Gnome Muncher pretty often. And then Patchwork. Patchwork was the guy in Nax, right? I feel like he's had a bit of an art downgrade here. 7 mana, 4/6 Undead with Battlecry. Destroy a random minion in your opponent's hand, deck, or... Oh, and battlefield. I thought it said or, and I was like, wow, this card sucks. But it's and. Wow, that's probably pretty good. It's got like a Vile Spine Slayer effect and a Mutanus effect. If Disruption doesn't matter at all, Patchwork is probably not good. But if it's at all relevant, that's probably a good card. Okay, Blood Boil. You need 2 blood runes for this one. It's got Lifesteal. Infect all enemy minions at the end of your turn. At the end of your turns, they take 2 damage, so it keeps going. So for just 1 turn, it's 5 mana Consecration with Lifesteal, and it continues doing damage past that. That card is probably pretty good. And then Corpse Explosion, we saw that one already. That is also pretty good. 2 mana. This one you need all 3 blood runes. Give your hero +5 health. Spend 3 corpses to gain 5 more and draw a card. Usually when cards heal, they say restore health. So presumably this is max health. Spend 3 corpses to gain 5 more and draw a card. Wow. I mean, I guess this is why this needs 3 blood runes, because this effect is insane. Renathal, Vampiric Blood Death Knight, and you can have 60 health. Assuming I'm reading this right.
increases your max health.
Oh yeah, increases your max health.
Okay, Frosty Case. These are my favorite. They slice and dice their way through their opponents in a flurry of cold steel and icy blasts. They utilize direct damage, spell synergies, the Frost spell school, mana manipulation, and of course, some freeze. Here are some
Oh
single
boy,
Frost
more freeze
cards.
effects.
We've got some card draw.
Alright, Frost spells. Defrost, 2 mana, draw a card, spend 2 corpses to draw another. I think we saw that one already. Pretty good if it's easy to get corpses. Acolyte of Death, 3 mana, 3/4. After a friendly undead dies, draw a card. So that does work with your hero power, because it makes a 1/1 charger that presumably is an undead. I didn't actually look earlier. I think that's probably the most mediocre card we've seen so far, unless it has some good synergies. And Glacial Advance, 3 mana frost spell, deal 4 damage. Your next spell this turn costs 2 less. This can go face. Glacial Advance is insane. What the fuck? If Death Knight has any other, like, Fireball, Frostbolt type effects, Glacial Advance is nuts. What the hell? 6 mana legendary, it's a 5/6 with Battle Cry. Draw 2 spells. If they're both frost spells, deal 2 damage to all enemies. 2 damage to all enemies on turn 6 is a bit weak. I don't think this legendary is super good, but if you just naturally play only frost spells, she's probably worth playing. Overseer Frigidara, I like the name. And Horn of Winter, a 0 mana frost spell that refreshes 2 mana crystals. Wow. It's really, really hard to evaluate a card like Horn of Winter. There have definitely been decks in the past where this would be, like, insanely broken, but you kind of need to see the whole Death Knight package before you can really tell. But it's certainly a dangerous card. I mean, it is refresh, so it's like on turn 2 you can't play Chillwind Yeti. You have to spend 2 mana and then you can refresh those 2. 7 mana, deal 5, freeze all enemy minions, summon a 5/5. Firelands Portal is crying somewhere. Deal 5, summon a 5/5, freeze all enemy minions. Please stop making cards that freeze boards. I mean, this card is really strong if you're willing to max out on Frost. Especially since this is just deal 5 damage on top of the deal 4 damage thing we saw already.
Unholy Death Knights raise relentless armies of the undead. They flood the board with minions and buff them all. They're also the most adept at generating and using corpses.
Alright, 3 mana Graveyard Shift, summon 2 1/1 zombies with Reborn. So 4 1/1s for 3 mana. You get a corpse every time a friendly minion dies, that's how it works. So considering the corpse resource, that seems pretty good. Without the corpse resource, I think that's just kind of like a landscaping type effect, which is not very good. But since it also basically says give 4 corpses, and there's that busted ass board clear that uses your corpses and things like that, that seems pretty decent. Plague Strike is a 2 mana shadow spell. Deal 3 damage to a minion. If that kills it, summon a 2/2 zombie with Rush. 2 mana, 3/2 a minion, summon a 2/2. I mean, that's just like a cracked out SI7 agent, right? Probably pretty decent. And Dark Transformation, 2 mana shadow spell. Transform an undead into a 4/5 undead monstrosity with Rush. So you can hero power with this, right? I think the Death Knight's hero power costs 2, surely. Otherwise, it would just be Power Corrupt Demon Hunter hero power. So you can make a 4 mana 4/5 with Rush that also deals like 1 face damage. That's pretty mediocre. I don't know. First impression of Dark Transformation is not that great. We saw Army of the Dead already, raise up to 5 corpses as 2/2 Risen Ghouls with Rush. That does seem like it requires so many corpses. Battlefield Necromancer, 2 mana 2/3. At the end of your turn, raise a corpse as a 1/2 Risen Footman with Taunt. 2 mana 2/3, summon a 1/2 with Taunt. I mean, if you just have a 1-drop die and then you can play this on turn 2, that's pretty strong. And then I guess every time your Footman dies, you just get another corpse. So at the end of your next turn, you can make another Footman. Wow, this card could be really, really annoying for a deck that has a hard time attacking like more than once at a turn. Yeah, that could definitely be powerful. Man, it's just like it consumes your corpses, but it reloads them. Wow, that's probably very good.
Great at keeping you protected with taunt minions.
Oh,
And
whoa,
if
whoa.
you've generated
The Risen Footman says doesn't leave a corpse. So that definitely changes things. Might still be pretty decent though. Again, depends how easy it is to get corpses. Lord Marrowgar. 8 mana, 9/7 undead legendary. With Battlecry, raise all of your corpses as 1/1 Risen Golems with Rush. For each that can't fit, give 1 +2/+2. So kind of like Kel'Thuzad, or Kel'Thuzad. But this just gives Rush. It doesn't deal damage. For each that can't fit, give 1 +2/+2. So if you have like 10 corpses sitting around, then you summon 6 1/1s, and then you give another 8/8 worth of stats to those 1/1s. It also just consumes all of your corpses, huh? I don't know. I don't love this card. All it does is make a board. There's like other ways to make a board for 8 mana. They have rush, so they like keep you alive. But it uses all your resources. I don't know if well, I guess do risen corpses leave corpses behind? Then you would end up with like at least 7 after this dies. I guess 7's probably enough for any of your other synergies. And you can even trade most of the risen golems off immediately. It's probably fine.
Lord Marrowgar is the ultimate corpse spender, but requires entirely dedicating your runes to Unholy.
All right.
This
that
person had
covers
17
Blood Frost and
corpses. I don't know if
Unholy,
that's a
but there's also
meme.
a few Death Knight cards that require no runes. These tend to be more general purpose cards, generically.
Okay, no runes for Skeletal Sidekick, a 1-mana 1/2 with Battlecry, give a friendly undead +2 attack. So that's just Abusive Sergeant, like old Abusive Sergeant when the attack buff was permanent. That's pretty good if it's easy to have early game undead minions. And Icy Touch, 1-mana frost spell, deal 2 damage to an enemy and freeze it. So Frostbolt, but 1 less mana for 1 less damage. Yeah, that card's really good. I'm scared of Ice Demon or Ice Death Knight.
Oh, and I almost forgot. We keep mentioning Undead.
Oh yeah, Undead. Undead is a new minion type, representing the various forms of dead minions that have been brought back to life. For example, we've got Infected Peasant. That's a living.
So this is just a neutral card. 2-mana 2/1 with Death Rattle, summon a 2/2 Undead Peasant. It's a pretty good number of stats. 2-mana 2/3 Undead. Battlecry, if a friendly Undead died after your last turn, deal 2 damage. So after your last turn means on your opponent's turn or during this turn, but before you play this. Okay, so it's definitely easier than just this turn. And it makes it, it's kind of interesting as a mechanic because if you have like some little shitter minion that you're trying to kill the opponent with, they don't even know if they're allowed to kill it or not. But it is pretty specific. You have to have an undead specifically die. And then this is 2-mana 2/3 deal 2 damage. I mean, if it's consistently online, it's a good card. 3-mana 5/4 undead with Reborn. And Battlecry is die. So it's Magma Rager, but it just triggers anything that wants something to die. Surely this is still bad, right?
Stat line, but triggers your Undead synergies. And it's great value to
I guess it
resurrect
does
too.
also just give you a
We
corpse.
poured over every Hearthstone card we've ever made and added the undead
Abominable Lieutenant, Thalnos,
type to
Tamsin.
hundreds of minions from past sets.
Hundreds? Hundreds? There aren't that many Hearthstone cards. That's crazy.
But especially with the addition of Undead, we kept running into questions like, is this skeletal dragon an undead or a dragon? We concluded
Dual
the
type?
coolest answer would be both. So we've added dual type minions.
Oh
such as-
shit, wow, that looks so bad. Am I the only one that thinks that? Does that just look ugly? Is it just me? How could they format this better? Maybe it would look better if it was like offset, like the Murloc is toward the left and the Pirate's to the right. I don't know. So Plague Maw the Rotting is undead now. Cookie the Cook is Murloc Pirate, which makes a lot of sense. And Patches is a Demon Pirate. Alright, well, I mean, that's cool from a gameplay perspective. Dude, they should, for the amalgams, they should just fill the text box. That would be funny.
Undead Quillbore from the Barrens, or pirates that happen to be Murlocs, or demons.
Or this brand new undead beast, Invincible.
Invincible. 8-mana 5/5 Undead Beast with Reborn, Battlecry, and Death Rattle. Give a random friendly undead +5/+5 and taunt. Dude, remember when Bone Marrow was 8 mana? What the fuck? Okay. I guess this is undead only that it can target. This has Reborn and Death Rattle, so you get this effect 3 times. Battlecry, Death Rattle, and then Reborn Death Rattle. So this is 8 mana for 25, 21 worth of stats, I think. I mean, if there's undead in the meta, and the games actually go to turn 8, this card is really good, I think.
Now, Now, along with the Death Knights, half of our classes have allied with the Lich King's Undead Scourge, and half with the Blood Elves, right? So here's a rundown of what the Scourge-aligned classes are up to. Warlocks use Frightful Soul Magic, priests have Necromancers to raise the dead, shamans are calling forth ancient spirits of the Drakari ice trolls, rogues craft clever concoctions, druids bring forth skittering death, and all of them can take advantage of exciting new undead synergies.
Okay, so this is a Shaman card, Unliving Champion. 3 mana, 3/2 Undead. Battlecry, if a friendly undead died after your last turn, summon 2 3/2 zombies. They need to have a keyword for if a friendly undead died after your last turn. That's just so many words. What could it be? Undeath. There you go. I made your keyword. 3 mana, 3/2. 3 mana for 3 3/2s. That's a hell of a lot of stats. Definitely good if it's playable. For Druid, Nerubian Flyer, 2 mana, 2/3 Undead. Battlecry. If a friendly undead died after your last turn, summon a 2/2 Nerubian. So 2 mana for 2/3, summon a 2/2. Alright, yeah, both of these are enough stats to see play if there's support for them.
There are also numerous undead in neutral, and that'll establish a foundation for undead decks to come. So that is the Scourge, but we've also got lots of Blood Elves.
Blood Elves. Silvermoon is the capital city of the Blood Elves, and we had a really wonderful time turning this beautiful, warm, and sunny city into an icy battlefield. Silvermoon City is located in this region called Quel'Thalas.
For Quel'Thalas. For Paladin, 2 mana Holy Spell. Give a friendly minion +3 attack, and give your hero +2 attack this turn. Okay. That's pretty decent. Especially when you consider that Paladin has Divine Shields to, like, double down on that 3 attack. Is Paladin... I guess you could play this with, like, Sous Chef on turn 2. Alright. Pretty decent card. Arcane Defenders. 8 mana Arcane spell for Mage. Summon 2 5/6 Golems with Taunt. And can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. 8 mana for 2 5/6s. It's probably kinda decent. It also has some big spell synergies, which might make it more playable. But, like, if you're playing Belinda or Barbaric Sorceress, you'd rather just summon the dragons, wouldn't you? Are 2 5/6 Golems with Taunt? There's no way that's better than dragons. It's better off of Parrot, because sometimes you get some stinkers off Parrot, because you don't get to discover, right? Definitely good with Parrot, of all the big spell stuff. Maybe this is enough to push, like, Ice Blood Tower into being good, just since it's a big spell that, like, does something consistent. Arcane Quiver for Hunter. 2 mana Arcane spell. Discover a spell from your deck. If it's arcane, give it spell damage +1. So it's Thrive in the Shadows with upside. Off the top of my head, I don't think Hunter has very many arcane spells. And even if you hit, like, Arcane Shot, this is 3 mana, deal 3 damage. This looks very mediocre at the moment, but if they get, like, a board clear or something that could be hit with this, then it ends up being pretty decent, maybe. Blood Matriarch Liadrin. A Paladin Legendary. 2 mana 3/2. After you summon a minion with less attack than this, give it Divine Shield and Rush. Wow. So immediately it just works with, like, your hero power. It works with Sinful Sous Chef, Bannerman, all that kind of stuff. But Paladin plays buffs, so you can just buff Liadrin, and then the stuff you play when she's buffed is good. There's the new card that gives her +3 attack, so anything, what does this say, with less attack than this? So anything 5 or less would have Divine Shield and Rush. This might also work with Steward the Steward. Maybe it gets Divine Shield and Rush, and then gets the Steward buff. Maybe. Probably not, but if that works, it could be really good. There's definitely a ton of potential in this card. Silver Fury Stalwart for Warrior. 6 mana 4/8 with Taunt and Rush. Can't be targeted by spells or hero powers, so that seems to be some text that they're consistently using. A rushing 4/8 would be mediocre. A taunted 4/8 would be mediocre. But both of them bundled together with the extra text is maybe okay. At the moment, I just don't see where I would ever want to play this. Deal with the Devil for Demon Hunter. 5 mana Fell Spell. Summon 2 3/3 Fell Fiends with Lifesteal. If your deck has no minions, summon another. Would this even be good without the conditional? 5 mana summon 3 3/3s with Lifesteal? This card seems really shitty. Am I missing something? Street Sweeper, a neutral minion. 4 mana 2/2, Battlecry, deal 2 damage to all other minions. Okay. Neutral Consecration. It does hit your own board, which is probably mostly a downside. Seems like this card competes really, really hard with Spammy Arcanist. And I think Spammy Arcanist might come out on top. Lorthamar Throne. 7 mana 7/7. Battlecry, double the stats of all minions in your deck. Wow. Now that's a legendary card. I don't even know what to do with this, but it's sick. It's pretty slow though. 7/7. 7 mana 7/7. Double up my Mr. Smite. Hell yeah. Okay. Interesting card for sure, absolutely.
We've also got a new keyword for the expansion, used across the Blood Elven classes and neutral.
Mana
It's called
Thirst.
Mana Thirst. Mana Thirst cards do something extra if you have X mana crystals. It doesn't spend that mana. These cards just become more powerful past a certain point in the game.
Oh, it doesn't
Okay,
spend.
I have one
Wait.
last card to show you.
So it's just like
It's called
it's like the Omega cards. Is that what they were called from Boomsday? It just matters if you have that many mana crystals in total. They don't even have to be active.
These cards just become more powerful past a certain point in the game.
They said they just become more powerful after a certain point in the game, but in the example they do have active mana crystals. All right, I assume that you don't need the crystals to be active. So Arcane Bolt for Mage, 1 mana arcane spell, deal 2 damage, Mana Thirst 8, deal 3 damage instead. Okay, so these payoffs are not very big. 1 mana deal 2, very mediocre. 1 mana deal 3 is fine, but you can't do it until turn 8. That's really, really slow. But if it's like a combo deck, that's pretty good. If there's like a lot of flame imps, so the base form of this is good enough already, then this is good. But that seems pretty mediocre. A neutral Silvermoon Sentinel, 3 mana 2/5 with Taunt. Mana Thirst 8, gain +2/+2 and Divine Shield. So 3 mana 2/5 Taunt. Late game, it's a 3 mana 4/7 Taunt with Divine Shield. Okay, the payoff of this card is a lot more extreme, but a 3 mana 2/5 Taunt is pretty unplayable. Seems kind of mediocre. Sunfury Clergy, also neutral. 3 mana 2/4 with Battlecry, restore 3 health to all friendly characters. Mana Thirst 6, restore 6 health instead. Don't tell Earthen Ring Farseer about this card. That seems playable. It's all friendly characters, including your hero, so it's a decent amount of healing. Mana Thirst 6 is like relatively early in the game compared to the other ones. I think that card's probably pretty decent. Embers of Strength for Warrior. 2 mana fire spell that summons 2 1/2 guards with Taunt. And Mana Thirst 6, give them +1/+2. So 2 mana for 2 1/2s with Taunt. Late game, it's 2 mana for 2 2/4s with Taunt. Oh wait, early game, this is just that Druid card, which I can't think of the name of. This seems very mediocre for Warrior. I don't love this card for Warrior at all.
Mana Thirst represents the Blood Elves' dependence on magical energies, and the main source of magical energy for them is the Sunwell. This great font of magical power that
Is this a
Silvermoon is
neutral
built around. This is Hearthstone's first neutral spell, and everyone
neutral legendary spell, the Sunwell? 9 mana holy spell. Fill your hand with random spells, costs 1 less for each other card in your hand. Okay, that's kind of cute. So if your hand is full, you would only be getting 1 card off this. So it would be 0 mana. But if your hand is empty, you get a ton of cards off this, so it costs 9 mana. Okay, that's pretty interesting. I wonder if there's like a midpoint where this is pretty good. I guess it's around like 5. If you have 5 other cards in your hand, this costs 4 and gives you 5 cards. Fill your hand with random spells, not from your class, so just random spells. I think that's definitely a bad thing, because you're going to be playing a class other than Paladin and get like Silverhand recruit stuff. This card is very interesting. I'm kind of leaning toward it not being very good, but it's a neutral card, so there are 11 classes now that can play it, so it's definitely got a chance.
Everyone is going to get a chance to give it a try, as we're giving it out just for logging in, for free, starting today.
Oh,
And
it's in the game right
a few
now.
more
Nice.
announcements to share. There's an exciting new type of collectible coming, signature cards.
One of the most requested types of cosmetics. This new card showcases the full card art. Here's a look at March of the Lich King signature cards. We've gone with an icy sepia style, along with a dark and scourgy frame.
Huh, this is kind of interesting. Is this even the same art that that card used before? I guess it probably is. How do I know what class this is? The nameplate, I guess. This is Mage. Is this Mage? No, it's Corpses. This is Demon Hunter. Or Death Knight. How do you know this is a Death Knight card just looking at it? I mean, I guess if you're at this point, if you like have this fancy card, you should just know what it's for. I don't particularly like the look of this, but I think maybe it's just because I think it might just be this art. I want to see some other stuff.
In total,
Hopefully
there are
they show
18
some
signature
others.
cosmetic cards for the
Oh,
March
they
of
are.
the Lich King, including 15 legendary.
Okay, that's for sure not the same art as the Invincible from before. So it's not just full art, it's like unique art. That's cool.
You'll find them in card packs, and they're not craftable. March of the Lich King
Not
packs have been
craftable.
upgraded.
Not craftable, and they're probably all legendaries. We mobile game now.
And here's one more. Lorthmar Throne. We think signature cards are elegant and unique, and we hope you will too.
The entire Knights of the Frozen Throne set will be added to core, making it free for everyone and back in standard.
So you can go play with all the old hero cards.
Knights
And
of the
when
Frozen
does this
Throne
go
added to
live?
core.
Right now,
Right now.
the Knights
Okay.
of Hollow's End event lasts for 2 weeks. And
Okay, so
Knights
it's
of the
only
Frozen
for
Throne
2
will
weeks.
remain all the way until the
Oh.
launch of March of the Lich King.
Now
Okay,
you can
so
catch up on what
the
happened
part I
last
care
time
about
the Lich King visited
The part I care about is the new cards in standard. They're going to be here for a month. Ugh, kind of scary. Kind of scary.
the tavern in preparation for his permanent return on December 6th.
December 6th. Pretty much expected.